You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Hey guys, welcome in and thank you for taking your time to take a listen to Watson's Playbook. This week, we talk about the NBA injuries, weather in North Texas. We discuss the Colts not willing to budge on their offer for wins. In the Spotlight of the Week, we discuss the fall of Houston sports. All on episode number 39 of Watson's Playbook.
You, George Foreman, all of you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him. All of you. I know you got him. I know you got him picked, but the man's in trouble. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
That's the reason you're in this business. If you have any kind of pride or any kind of dedication or any kind of backbone or spunk to you, you should try to be the best in your own profession, regardless of what it is.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
The Chicago Bulls pick Michael Jordan, University of North Carolina.
NBA season. The respect from those two. And that's it. It's over. This historic 2020 NBA championship belongs to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers conquered the bubble, and banner number 17 will soon hang in the rafters.
All right, guys, welcome in Watson's Playbook episode 39. We got another great week for you here. Jeff, I don't know about you this week, buddy, but Texas has failed us, Jeff. We've had historically bad winter. We've had historically bad weather. We got about my house. We got almost 8 inches of snow in the last 2 days. We've had power outages during this week. Now, luckily, I haven't had these power outages, but other people in Texas have. They've had rolling blackouts. They've been without power for 24, 38 hours. Some people literally lost their lives. It's been insane. We've been without water at the house. It's just been a bad week. I haven't been to work since last Friday, and I don't know when I'm going back. So it's been a struggle this week, Jeff, to say the least. Texas is not handled for this bad of winter, and we're finding out about it this last week. So, how are you in Colorado, buddy?
Well, we handle it horribly. No, I mean, we've handled it well, but it's something that they've dealt with, I guess, forever. So they don't really they're more prepared, I think.
Yeah.
I was talking to my dad actually, COVID a couple days ago, and I told him, I said, he asked me, he's like, "Did y'all get any snow?" And I'm like, "We got some, but we didn't get as much as we probably would have." I know the mountains got a lot of snow, but we got some snow. But I think the thing is that when it snows here, and I noticed that the second it snows, you see 6, 7 ice trucks down the highway. right after another, one after another, one after another, one after. And then they'll come back, they'll loop, and they'll come back. All the same, one after another, one after another. They do it all night long, on rotation, all night. And so like whenever we have stuff like that, I mean, there was a time where I was able to actually get to work, and I got there and nobody was there. And it was all icy and stuff like that. But I was able to get to work, and they did close it down because some people live too far away, from us. But yeah, it was just, it's kind of crazy. Like Texas isn't designed for that kind of thing whatsoever. I think the last time I remember a winter like that was in 2010. It was pretty insane. I think it was 1.5 feet or so of snow, which is crazy. But yeah, seeing the stuff that's going on, my mother-in-law had power outages for a few hours yesterday. My wife's really good friend Tammy, who is her maid of honor. I think you saw her. She was at the wedding. Yeah. She has been out of power until an hour ago.
It's rough here, man. We went to the store. Been to the store twice probably, but we went to the store yesterday. Walmart was shut down. They closed the doors. We went to Winco, further of a drive, because we don't really go anywhere unless we have to on this stuff. And went to Winco, and we got there right in time before the panic set in, and we were able to get the water we needed and some food. So the lines, I mean, it was almost as bad as when the pandemic first hit, and people were, we went in there, you couldn't get any produce. The whole produce shelves were empty. People were just buying everything up, and they were limiting you from buying everything up. So they're doing the best we can down here, but luckily some people are better off than others. We haven't lost power one time, so we've been able to do that, but we've had to boil water to wash dishes. We've had to melt water to flush our toilets. And not only that, Jeff, if you're lucky enough to have water in North Texas, you have to boil it because the water power plant shut down. They lost power, so the water wasn't getting treated like it's supposed to. So you had to boil the water, and it's just been one heck of a week, and one that frankly I think us Texans will never complain about that 100-degree heat any longer, because the heat doesn't come with busted pipes and just total shutdowns of a state. So I'll take that any day of the week.
It's interesting because it just it seems like there was, and I'm not gonna, it's hard to get into that, but it seems like to me that there was already issues with the grid, and this just was this was just like the cherry on top, the straw that broke the camel's back. You know what I mean? And there was already issues, and they were just never addressed.
They were, and we'll find out more about it. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has said he's going to investigate into it to make sure this never happens again.
Well, I mean, there's tons of finger pointing going on, and I'm like, come on, somebody's got to be able to. Take some blame. Somebody.
It's caused a big mess, Jeff. I mean, I've seen stories where 13 children were treated for carbon monoxide poisoning because parents are using generators inside the house. They're jumping in their car in the garage and turning it on. I'm like, what is good? So yeah, it's a big mess.
It's unfortunate. It's insane. And the way that Texas is designed, I don't know if people know, but their grid system is their own. So the way it's designed is, and a lot of people are like, well, why can't they get power from other states? It can't. It's not designed that way. It's a grid system designed for the state itself, and they can't give power out or receive the power. So it's like this weird thing where if it goes down, there's not a lot anybody can. You can bring people in to help fix it, probably, but you can't actually send power to them to help out because of the way it was designed to basically just kind of function for the state itself. And Rick Perry made a comment today that I was kind of like, dude, come on now, man. That was a little bit of an off color. Like, he's like, we're not going to ask any kind of government assistance. I'd rather have rolling blackouts forever. And I'm like,
some people.
I'm like, Rick Perry, do you have power?
He probably does. Some people are idiots. Look, it is what it is. Texas is very. We like to be reliant and efficient by ourselves and not rely on others. But when this happens, it's kind of like, well, there's a lot of Northerners making fun of us. I'm like, you don't get our state is not built for this weather, and it doesn't get this weather very often. So
there's a lot of crazy. And I was talking to my wife, and she's just like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I mean, for example, we had some record-setting heat here for like a couple of weeks this summer here. And then we had such a dry spring, it caused an insane amount of wildfires, to where all of the crap from California was getting blown over our way, and it was just a mess. And then it's like you have that on top of, northern Mexico got snow, and I'm like, what is going on?
And it's been crazy because this winter's come, and I've seen a bunch of memes just about how the groundhog saw a shadow in Texas. It says we have 6 more weeks, and Texas says, "No, we're gonna take care of this in 6 days." So it gets above freezing on Friday at 36 degrees. Start melting a little bit of snow. And next week we're in the 40s and 50s. So hopefully by next Monday I'll be able to go back to my job and get a paycheck. Now that's my big issue is I have to eat. If I want to get paid this week, I have to eat through my vacation time, personal time to do so. So that's what I'll do because, I can't go without a paycheck. It just sucks.
We're getting snow right now, like right outside the window. As soon as I got home, Allie was like, I think it's snowing. And I looked over, I was like, yeah, it is.
Yeah, we got about 2 to 3 inches last night as well. So, but I think the snow and everything is gone now, and we can just hopefully recoup and recover.
Tons of snow in the mountains, dude. Tons of snow in the mountains.
Enjoy it. This is why I live in a hot state. I'd rather deal with that than snow any day of the week. It's fun one day, but don't give me all the other problems that come with it. All right, Jeff, let's go ahead. We've got some headlines for you here. Anthony Davis of the Los Angeles Lakers re-injures his Achilles and will miss 2 to 3 weeks. It's very troubling for the Lakers. Anthony Davis has been injury prone throughout his career. We cannot win without him, Jeff. We cannot win a championship without him. He's very important to our team. But to what they said that 2 to 3 weeks. Now they did an MRI. It didn't reveal a tear of his Achilles or anything like that. After these 2 to 3 weeks, they're going to reevaluate him and go forward from there. So the Lakers currently sit second in the West. I think we'll be fine without him for now. But going into the playoffs later on during the season, Anthony Davis is that guy. And, we got LeBron James, but he can't do it all himself.
You have LeBron James.
We do have LeBron. He's playing really good.
That's all you need, Brian. That's all you need. He'll score 80 points a game. Okay.
Yeah, 80 points. Yeah, he'd have to score that if we wanted to win without Anthony Davis. So
it is what it is. I don't know his injury history or anything, but at least it's now.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. At least it's now. He has been injury prone with the Pelicans when he played, but it's just the way he's built and his size is.
You got to rest him.
The way he moves.
I'm not saying rest him all year, but you have to be very meticulous about, how much playing time he has. Being manage his playing time correctly, to where he's on the court necessarily in necessary moments, but when it's not necessary, he's off the court.
Right.
When you're up by, 30 points, he doesn't need to be out there right now. Just let him rest. Let a couple guys go out there and score. And if he gets close, he's out there. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's just, I don't know, managing his time. That's what the Yankees are doing right now. Giancarlo Stanton, he's a designated DH hitter now. He's not in the outfield.
Yeah, because he's always hurt.
Yep.
And another injury news in the NBA: D'Angelo Russell out 4 to 6 weeks, has to undergo arthroscopic knee surgery. He averages 19 points a game right now for the worst team in basketball, the Timberwolves. So, he will be missed as 19 points a game, but not that they're going anywhere. Other news: due to weather in Dallas and Fort Worth area that me and Jeff just talked about, the Dallas Stars are forced to post a game Monday night, and I believe it may have been a series. I believe it might have been a series because of rolling blackouts in the area. The game will be made up between the National Predators at a time to be determined. Now, I said I'm going to start getting into hockey. The Dallas Stars are my team. There was a fan of theirs when I was growing up as a kid. So I'm trying to get back into hockey. I don't know a lot about it. So you can join me on the ride to get back into liking hockey again. And, Jeff, do you like hockey? Do you have a team?
I do have a team. But they're horrible. And they haven't been any good
since we were kids.
Well, no.
Aren't they the Red Wings?
They're the Red Wings. They've won since then. But yeah, they haven't won probably they haven't really been in the playoffs in a like a meaningful way I don't know. It was probably, I don't know, like 8 years ago, maybe, or something like that, 7 years ago. So it's been a while, but I like them mainly because I remember seeing them in the playoffs as a kid, and I think it was Brett Hall, who played for the Stars.
Mm-hmm.
I liked him. And when I started watching the Stars was when they won the Stanley Cup, and I was like, man, Brett Hall, he's pretty cool. I like that. I just like that player. And the next year he went to the Red Wings. And I was like, well, so I watched the Red Wings here and there. They were in the playoffs. They're really good. And I like the kind of history behind the team. And then I like Brett Hall. So I was just like, I don't know. I think that's probably going to be, because I didn't really watch the Stars. That was the only time I really watched them, was when they were in the playoffs that year. And so, so when I did that, it's kind of similar to how I became a Bronco fan. Very similar, except it wasn't a person who was on another team. It was just me happening to watch that team. And then I just became a fan. I was just like, okay, this is cool. I like this team. So,
right. We haven't done this on the video podcast before. We need to sit down and kind of go into why we like our teams. We like different teams. I'm born and raised in Fort Worth, but I don't follow a lot of Texas teams. I'm a Dallas Stars fan.
He's really a closet Cowboy fan. Don't
definitely not.
Don't even lie.
Don't even start. So I'm a Texas Ranger fan, but I'm a Green Bay Packer fan and a Los Angeles Lakers fan. But we need to do an episode where we tell you why we're a fan of the teams we are. But that being said, I do remember the Dallas Stars when they won the championship. I think it was 99.
Yeah, it was 99.
And me and my brother were at my grandma's house, and we stayed up till almost 2 a.m. and went to 2 overtimes. And Brett Hull scored the winning goal in the Game 7 to win it all. And that's a memory that I always will have with hockey. And all the great players, and Brett Hull and Mike McDonough and Zubov. Is it Zubok? It's been a long time. But so we're going to try and get back into some hockey here. I don't know how much we're going to talk about it because I don't know a lot about it, but it's fun to watch and definitely fun to go to. Have you ever been to a hockey game live, Jeff?
Yes.
They're fun. They're really fun.
I think I went with my cousins one time. Yeah. We went to, that was at before American Airlines. It's been a long time. Union Arena. Holy crap.
Oh, that's a long time. All right, Jeff, the next bullet point we got here is Allen Robinson, a wide receiver from the Bears. And let me tell you, he's a damn good wide receiver. Hasn't had talks about his contract since September. The tag deadline is approaching. Will the Bears tag Allen Robinson or trade him? There's been rumors of where he might end up. Look, I would love him in Green Bay. This guy is a very underrated wide receiver. He's played with horrible quarterbacks in Chicago, and he's put up big numbers. I think he was in the top 5 in a lot of stats this year, Allen Robinson. Will he be traded? Will the Bears will be dumb, to my opinion, not to keep him, but they're a dumb franchise. So let him go somewhere. Hopefully he comes to Green Bay. But I don't know. I think they should keep him. If I'm an organization, he's their number 1 wide receiver. I don't know who else they really got to throw to, but if they haven't had trade talks since September, it doesn't look very well there unless they plan on tagging him, and tags don't make players happy. So there's been a lot of rumors of where he might end up, where they might trade him to, who's interested, but we don't know yet. A lot of speculation.
I mean, Green Bay should be looking. They need some more weapons.
True story.
More weapons.
True story. Sad story over the weekend popped out. Vincent Jackson, ex-Chargers and Bucks wide receiver, found dead at his hotel room. Jackson was 38 years old. They do not know yet the cause of death. I read in a report today that his family says he suffered from alcoholism and headaches. That made me automatically start thinking CTE problems. CTE has been a big issue with former players. A lot of players, Junior Seau, just ending their lives because of this problem that they have. The whole Aaron Hernandez, which is a documentary, Jeff, we need to break down on this show.
Yeah,
definitely.
I've seen it. It's insane.
It's
good.
insane.
Yeah.
We need to watch it again and break it down on here. But CT is a very scary situation, and it causes these people to not be who they are. It changes their whole moods and everything else. So he hasn't been diagnosed with it, but it makes me think that, and it's just one of those things you don't know until they die and they examine their brain to whether they had CT or not.
Yeah. I mean, you can't rule it out. You can't rule out any kind of, suspect thing like that unless he's had a history of depression or anything prior to playing. Then they would be different. And if he didn't, it's kind of sucky because when these players leave, I mean, there's a number of things that probably go through their head. Like, what do I do now? I've done this my entire, adult life, and I don't know what to do when I leave here, and I don't know what I'm good at now. So some of them try to, if you don't go into like sports analysts, you got to completely change what you've done, and try to do something else. It's different.
It's tough to find that next gig. And that happens too with I know some military people that they go and do a certain job and then they leave the military, and then that job that they had in the military doesn't transfer over. So that's an issue. But, they said they didn't find any, we don't know if it's suicide. We don't know what it was yet. I'm thinking overdose. There was no blood force trauma, no nothing like that. So he was just found dead in his hotel room. But just sad story. We remember watching him grow up. But 38 years old, way too young to go.
Mm-hmm.
The Colts came out and announced that they aren't willing to budge on their offer for Carson Wentz. They offered 2 second-round picks and I believe a third-round pick as well. They're not budging. They're not going to go up. They're not going to go down. I'm guessing they're hoping that that's enough, that no one else offers more than that. Chicago is still, they believe that the front runners for Carson Wentz trade, but they're going to have to offer. The Eagles are wanting a first-round pick, so I think they're going to have to give up a first and maybe a third for Carson Wentz, or the Eagles are going to be forced to probably trade Carson Wentz away to the Colts for 2 second-round picks. So we'll see what happens there. It's the waiting game going on, but the Colts are not budging on their offer.
Yeah. The Colts organization's just been, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know where they're headed. Definitely, I think I don't know. I think they're more of a rebuild type mode. It's just an interesting. No, you don't think so?
I don't. And
are they a QB away? Is that what you're thinking?
Yes, I think I seriously think they're QB away, and I think
what's the draft pick this year for them?
It's low. They were a good team. They that's a good question. I'm gonna have to look that up. I know it's low. They're not up to be able to get a quarterback or draft a quarterback. So I mean, unless one falls deeply down the totem pole, they get someone that come out of a smaller school.
I don't think they can get Deshaun Watson. I mean, I don't know what they would be. I mean, you'd have to give up a lot to get him. And I don't think, draft picks are great, but they're going to want some real picks, some real players that are already established a little bit.
They have the 21st overall pick in the first round. So here's the situation. And what I see with the Colts, Jeff, is first of all, they have great defense.
Yes.
They have a good running back. They have a good offense. Phillip Rivers took them deep into the playoffs. Phillip Rivers was a washed-up quarterback, in my opinion. To me, they're a quarterback away, and they have a lot of cap space. They have the money to spend. I think they're being too frugal with their money, and with this. If they really wanted Carson Wentz and they really thought that they could change Carson Wentz into the next franchise quarterback, give the Eagles what they want. Give them a first round and maybe a third or a fourth round pick. I don't understand if they really think that Wentz is the guy they want. Then why not go all in for a franchise quarterback? I would love to see Deshaun Watson go there. I think he'd be perfect fit for them. We're going to get into Deshaun Watson here in the spotlight of the week coming up.
Yeah.
But the Colts, to me, that's my only issue with them is they've set on a plan to save money. They got this team that's really good, but they're being very frugal with their money. And right now, I think it's time to go all in. We do forget that Andrew Luck was their franchise quarterback who stepped away from football. If he was with this team this last year, maybe they'd gone further on. I just don't know where they're going to go at with the quarterback position. Like I said last week, I don't think Carson Wentz is your answer, but they obviously think they can change him because they laid an offer on the table. It just doesn't seem like they're willing to maybe expend a little more than they want to get him.
Now, is there an actual rumor going on that Andrew Luck is thinking of coming back?
I haven't heard anything. The reports, the last I heard on him was really that the owner of the Colts thought that he could talk Andrew Luck coming back out of retirement. Okay. I haven't heard anything for the grapevine of where Andrew Luck is. He's actually dropped off of the cliff. I haven't heard anything. You haven't really seen him. He could be training to come back. I don't know. Now, the weird thing about Andrew Luck is this team is set up for success right now. He left a couple years ago. They have one of the best offensive lines in the league. They actually drafted Quentin Nelson, which is one of the best guards in the NFL since he's been drafted. So this team is set up for success. They have a good defense. They got a good rushing game. So it's interesting to see that he stepped away when he did. It shocked me when he stepped away, but that would be interesting. Maybe Luck comes back. I don't know, but I don't think Carson Wentz is their guy. But if they do think he's the guy, they do have a lot of cap space. They can trade and get him if they really think he's the guy. But to me, them saying that this is all we're going, Doesn't mean they have the whole world confidence that Wentz is that next guy, but we'll see. It'll be interesting to watch.
I wonder if personally, if the Eagles were in a worse situation overall for Wentz, and maybe the Colts are in a better situation overall for Wentz. Wentz doesn't have to be an elite quarterback. I mean, look how far Rivers took them, and he wasn't even at his A game. So with a great offensive line, with some decent offensive tools, and with a good defense, is that something that Wentz could redeem himself and go, hey, maybe I'm in the right position?
It might be. And when he came out, I always thought he was better than Dak Prescott when they first came out. He had, he just better, but I'm wrong. Dak Prescott is better than Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz dropped off a cliff last year, Jeff, really bad. And I think a lot of it has to do with his mental. And I'm not talking about this deep depression, mental issues. I just think you look at it, go look at his career. Okay. He would have been the MVP in my opinion before he got injured. A backup quarterback comes in and wins the championship. Your own city, Jeff, half your fan base wants you to be gone and wants Nick Foles, the guy who played the playoffs and had a lucky 4-game stretch to the Super Bowl. Not only that, Jeff, your team puts a statue of that quarterback out in front of the stadium. Every day you walk in, you've got to see this backup quarterback get all the glory as you led your team to the playoffs. He hasn't been this since his injury. I think it's a little bit of both. I think a fresh start would be good for Wentz, and maybe he can turn it around. And you're exactly right. You did hit the nail right on the head there. That with a good offensive line, a good running game, a good defense to take pressure off of Wentz, maybe he can resurrect his career. I just saw quite a bit of drop off this last year with him, and the Eagles weren't that great of a team. So maybe he does. And I saw an article today that said that this one analyst predicts that the Eagles will be forced to trade Carson Wentz to the Colts because they're not going to get any other options, any other deals or any other offers for Carson Wentz, and the Colts is the best offer in the moment. He trades into the Colts, and then that way the Eagles can draft their future quarterback in the draft. So the Eagles are going to eat some money when they trade Carson Wentz away. I do think he gets traded. I would like to see him go to the Chicago Bears because I don't think that's a winning move. I want to see the Colts get a good quarterback, and I think it's time I would like to see the Colts as an organization utilize what they've got around them, and they do got a good team, and I think they're a team that's up and coming, but they're just that quarterback away, in my opinion.
I mean, a good move would be a clean trade to Houston, Wentz for Watson.
Well, I'm sick to say I hope that's a joke because Watson's a damn good quarterback. And,
if that actually came out and was actually a trade deal, that was like it's not. There's no extra anything. It's like that's it, straight trade. It's like what?
Maybe if Bill O'Brien was still the Texans head coach / GM there, but. In other news that I saw today, NFL is seeking more information on cannabis as an alternative to opioids. We've seen last year as NFL really stopped punishing people who got caught taking weed, marijuana, and I think it's a good thing. So opioids are very addicting, and they're not good for you at all. They cause a lot of issues. People get addicted to them. This is a healthier way for these players to cope with these injuries, the pain they deal with every day, the pain that takes beating your body up playing football, healthier. I think this is a good move for the NFL. I think they should allow this in the NFL instead of pushing those opioids and dangerous painkillers that people get addicted to. Brett Favre was addicted to them at one point. So there are opioids and drugs are cause an issue. I do think the decriminalization of weed in the NFL is something that we're looking, they're looking forward to. They they're not going to suspend you anymore. We've seen that. So I think it's a good thing for the players, and it's a very healthier, natural way to cope with your injuries instead of those opioids.
No, I completely agree. Yeah. I mean, the players that go through a lot of, just torture all year long. So, yeah, I think that there's nothing, it doesn't make any sense anymore.
Yeah.
Let's just get past the stigma behind it. It's
the devil's lettuce, Jeff.
The devil's Oh man. Okay. Yeah. Just get past the stigma behind it. I mean, honestly, this at some point this just needs to be an easy transition to something that's a little bit less harmful than a lot of the prescriptions out there. So
yes. And there was breaking news, Jeff, before we jumped on this podcast. Breaking news that Fernando Tatis and the Padres agreed to a 14-year, $340 million extension. Tatis is 24 years old, so it makes sense to lock him up long term. I'm pretty sure there's probably an out in there somewhere. But Fernando Tatis is the cover boy of the MLB The Show. He is their flashy player that's going to hit home runs and flip the bat in your face, and you're going to have to deal with it. And I think that's great for baseball. Baseball needs that. They need that for the attention. They need that marketing. That's one thing that baseball has suffered from is they don't market their players well enough. The unwritten rules, all that stuff in baseball. So Fernando Tatis locking it down with the Padres, who is a team that forever has been really bad. Mm-hmm. But they've added that talent. They've added Fernando Tatis. They've added talent through the off seasons the last couple of years. They've added pitching talent to be better. I think they're the next up and coming team, hopefully for them and baseball. But they need a guy like Fernando Tatis, and they locked it down in San Diego, and that's kudos to them.
I mean, he's the cover athlete for the game. I don't follow a lot of other teams a lot when it comes to outside of the Yankees and especially outside of the division. So it's interesting whenever I see a new player, and I had heard his name, but when they did the cover athlete, I looked him up and I was just like, geez, that's insane. They have a good player. And I'm pretty sure he's homegrown. So it's not like they picked him up, from another team, I don't think. But yeah, like I think hey, baseball has a cap, but it's a soft cap, really. I mean, it's a hard cap, but it's not like, it's not like football where they can't get over it at all. Like they can get over it in baseball. They just end up having to pay more.
Yeah. The owners pay more. So
ultimately, like in baseball, man, if you can get the money, get the money. I mean, if a team's willing to pay, especially after a season like COVID, if somebody's willing to pay, like take it.
Right. And the Padres, they added Blake Snell from the World Series, Tampa Bay Devil Rays. They locked up Fernando Tatis. They got Yu Darvish, Mike Clevenger. Manny Machado was a big pickup last year, great third baseman. So a lot of decent players there that they have added. Sorry, I had to look it up. So they're looking forward to the future there in San Diego, and it's a team that I've never seen be good in my entire existence. So it's good to see that these teams that aren't good, they're finally figuring it out as getting guys in and going all in type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, especially after this season. I mean, there's a lot of teams that are a lot of there's a lot of basic like. The organizations are not spending money. That's why it was such a weird and slow off season. So this guy getting a mega deal like that, man. I mean, honestly, I don't even like Trevor Bauer got paid, but this guy got paid. He got paid better.
Yeah. Trevor Bauer goes to the Dodgers, so they have 3 Cy Young Award winners on their roster. So they just won the World Series, and they're trying to continue that and go back to back. And one thing, Jeff, I look at your hat, and I did not add on the headlines, but it was a big headline here in the DFW. is Mark Cuban upset a lot of fans when he said the Dallas Mavericks at home will not play the national anthem before games. And as you know, that brought a lot of heat, a lot of issues. That same day that he announced that, the NBA said all teams will play the national anthem, and Mark Cuban had to give in and play the national anthem. He really didn't give much of an answer why he decided to not play the national anthem. Politics, I guess, I'm not sure. There was a lot of fans that were ready to boycott the Dallas Mavericks, and just an issue. And
I heard about it. I heard about him talking about that, and then I think did he not end up not doing that, or coming out and saying he that's not true?
No, he came. He came out and said that they weren't going to do it, and then the NBA stepped in and said all teams will play the national anthem, and then he came out after that and said we will play the national anthem as the NBA wants us to. So he basically has to play it because the NBA said so. I know the whole kneeling thing's been a big issue. We've talked about that before, the politics and all that crap. To me, it's been the kneeling and all that stuff they don't show it. The NFL, the very first game of the season was a big topic. Oh my gosh, what are they going to do? These players, are they going to kneel? They're not going to kneel. And they kneeled. And what did the NFL do, Jeff? They stopped showing the national anthem on TV. You turn on TV. I didn't see no national anthems this year in the NFL. You don't. Yeah. It's that simple. You don't want that. If you don't want that in your sport, or you allow your players to kneel, a big way is, okay, you can kneel and the fans will see it when they're here. But on TV, I didn't see it in the NFL. I don't know the NBA games, if they're showing it on TV or not. Some I think I've seen it, and some I haven't. So I don't know strictly on what they do there. But it was it's a big controversial topic.
Yeah,
and
I mean, I don't know if they're going to be able to do that for too long and not showing the national anthem, especially when fans are in the stands. They're definitely not going to. They're not going to get away with something like that, I don't think. Nationally televised games, big games, I'm sure they had the national anthem. I mean, the Super Bowl had it. So they have to, I don't know. You can only get away with it so long by not showing it, but eventually you're going to have to, especially for big games.
I think big games, but I don't know. I think it's just it's an easy answer to
it's an odd way. Yeah, it's an odd way to do it. I mean, you can do camera tricks, camera angles. You still show it. You just, not showing it seems a little odd, but.
And I think, hell, in my opinion, just show who's singing it, or to put the camera on the flag.
That's typically what they do in baseball games. They show the flag and then they show the person singing. I mean, you don't really see anybody else.
I don't care who kneels. I don't care who stands. It is what it is.
I don't know. I think that was just a mishap on Mark Cuban. I don't know what he was thinking. But
I don't know where we got the idea, but it wasn't a very good idea business wise, in my opinion. No. A lot of backlash. So we'll see. But
he backpedaled. He backpedaled quickly. So
Yeah. I wonder if he wouldn't have backpedaled if the NBA didn't say something. But that day the NBA said something and he kind of changed it up. So I don't know. Let's jump into the side notes, Jeff, as that ends the headlines portion. Now, side notes is just a category of just different random things we want to throw in that maybe not sports related. So
can I throw in one more? Just one more. Okay.
You can throw in one more, Jeff.
I'm throwing 20 more. So there's a player that Jason Dominguez, I wanted to point that out. So there's a guy, he's 19. No, 18.
Yeah, you said that video
he's
to me.
18. This dude is built like Mike Trout. 18 years old. And he's an outfielder for the Yankees that they spent their entire international pool on. Their entire international pool was spent on this guy. And his speed is compared to some of the running backs in the NFL. And I think, and then like his body is reminiscent of like a Mike Trout in terms of how he's built, and he's not even 20. So if anybody wants to take a look at this guy, keep an eye out, and want to see, this kind of modern marvel in terms of how somebody could be that size and have that kind of ability at such a kind of a young age is insane. I think Mike Trout was probably the last person that really broke in young, like almost like a teenager, really. I mean, he was 20 or 21 when he got into the Major League Baseball. Insane. I keep hearing about this guy. I think he's one of the top 10 prospects in Major League Baseball, that they've ranked him. So he's above average in pretty much every category. But one, I can't remember if that's maybe fielding. Maybe he's just slightly below average, but in all the other categories, he's above average, including speed, which is insane. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. But yeah, if that'll be a name that'll probably pop up in the next few years. So had to throw that out.
Nice. Yeah. I don't like to see the Yankees got him, but the Yankees have always found a way to bring in good players, and they're homegrown players. And it's really frustrating because when we were a fan of a team and the Texas Rangers, who don't for generations can't figure out how to build a farm system, it's very frustrating. Jeff, very frustrating. So,
I had to throw
you showed
that out
me,
there.
you sent me the video and the power that he for as an 18-year-old hitting those home runs and the crack of the bat. This sounds amazing. So, we'll look forward to seeing him in a couple of years, the major leagues possibly. So, one other thing I did not mention, I actually tweeted it out on Twitter. Tim Tebow's dream of making it to the Major League Baseball is over, Jeff. He is officially retired from baseball and will no longer pursue his career of making it in the major leagues. As I don't know. I mean, kudos to you, man.
I didn't know. I thought that he was sports analyst for NCAA football.
He does both.
Okay. I thought he was having a family too. I don't know.
I think he made it double A. He never made the single A in the Mets organization. I said that earlier.
Which is pretty bad.
The wife.
Mets are horrible.
Yeah. I sent it out there. I talked to the wife about. I brought that up to the wife, and my mom looked at me and goes, "Tim Tebow's still playing somewhere?" Like, oh yes, he is. And now he retired, and he can go focus on being an analyst. And kudos to you, Tim Tebow, but it didn't work out. Side notes here, Jeff, and I don't have a lot of them this week, but this week, since we've been stuck at home, we've been binge watching some shows, and I'm the type of person, when I'm watching a show, I want to finish the whole show before I start something else. But our internet was being stupid, and Hulu would not load up so we could continue and finish watching How I Met Your Mother for the second time. So we turned on Disney Plus, and it worked. It was the only thing that was working today for some reason. And we turned on WandaVision, and it's Marvel's show. Have you? I don't know how much you know about Marvel, Jeff, and all that stuff, but this season 1 was 6 episodes. I hate that it's so short, and it's super fantastic. Super fantastic, very interesting, very weird show. It's set after, I believe, after Endgame, or maybe right before. No, after Endgame. The timeline's a little foggy, but it's weird. It's this girl named Wanda, and her superpower is she can do all sorts of things with her mind. She can, lift cars. She can make you think you're seeing something. She can control your mind. And basically, It starts off like a 1950s sitcom. You're like, what is this? It's super interesting, super weird. But you come to find out that things start going wrong in this sitcom, and you're like, what? What is going on? And there's this guy there named Vision, who is also one of the Avengers, but he, in real life, he's actually dead. He gets killed off in the movie, but she brought him back to life and all this stuff in this thing. And it sounds so crazy. And you're probably like, what the heck? You need to know Marvel before you just jump into this thing. But those that do, it's been getting really high ratings. Go watch it. It's a great show. And it's only 6 episodes. So it's an easy watch, and they're like 30-minute episodes, but it's very crazy. And it's an insane show, but it's really good.
I've heard about it. I've heard good things about it. It's very interesting. I like Marvel, but and I appreciate Marvel, and I respect, the Marvel universe and everything. I've always been a DC guy. I'm always just since I was a little kid. I remember going and watching Batman, the movie, the Batman, and so I'm like, I was just like, there was something about that. Was the one with Jack Nicholson as the Joker. And dude, once I saw that as a kid, I was like, man, Batman's cool. Batman is the one. Like,
Batman will always be my favorite superhero, and the Joker will always be my favorite supervillain. But when it comes down to the Avengers and all that, I love what Marvel has done with the Avengers, and I like what they've done with Thor and all these characters, and they have their own individual movies, and then they come together and make them. And I think they've blown past DC in a lot of those different ways. DC and they have their own different Batmans, and I thought Christian Bale did a really good job of Batman. I'm not a big fan of the new Batman with Ben Affleck. They did okay, but
he's not Batman.
Wonder Woman.
He's not Batman anymore.
Well, I know. There's a new Batman, and I'm interested to see what this new Batman is going to look like with Robert Pattinson. That looks really well. Wonder Woman came out, the first one, fantastic movie. I said, okay, maybe DC's coming and doing something. The second Wonder Woman, don't know if you've seen it, Jeff. I'm not a fan of it. I didn't think it was okay. I wasn't blown away by it. I didn't watch Aquaman. I didn't watch Justice League. So maybe I need to start watching these ones. But I follow a lot more of the Avengers and Marvel storylines. I've watched all those movies just because I think they've done a better job than DC at it. But I do like Batman the best, and I do like Joker the best. And Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, that was fantastic.
And I mean, an award winner. I mean, name a Marvel movie that won an award at the Oscars or Academy Award or none.
Oh, was there none? I don't know.
None.
But Joker was a movie when it came out.
Yeah, none of the Marvel movies have ever won a major motion picture award, like Best Picture.
That's true.
Like Joker did. Yeah. So it's weird.
I remember that.
It's weird, but it's my thing is like. So Batman had DC had its heyday with Batman. Batman's most iconic. It's like Spider-Man. Spider-Man's the most iconic Marvel character ever. It's one of their oldest characters, and it's one of their most well-known and most respected characters. In DC, it's Batman, always. So I think that's why you didn't see a lot of people touch these other characters. It's always vague. It's like, oh, someone played Catwoman. Okay. Oh, okay. Someone played Poison Ivy. Okay. But there was never standalone films. And so I think that they're on the right track with how they're structuring things. And I think that once this pandemic stuff's over and everything starts kind of unfolding, you're going to start seeing a lot more DC films that are going to be really, really good. Joker was the first time we saw that. there is more. There's more coming. Like, even the director of the Joker said, I want to do more character picks of DC villains. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, perfect. I want to see Scarecrow.
Yes.
I want to see Scarecrow biopic, and so that's awesome. And then
you just stopped talking all of a sudden. Are you there? Well, it looks like we lost Jeff there. I don't know, but Jeff, no. All right. Well, I'm going to have to just continue without him here. Now, Jeff is exactly right. I do think we do see more DC coming. I think that's what I was talking about a while ago. Is just Marvel has taken this and ran with it. And they have your individual stories of Ant-Man and Thor, and you have these different movies and different episodes, and then you have the big major motion pictures where they all come together and different things like that. I do want to see that at DC, and I do want them to mash it all together. There's been a lot of Batmans and a lot of different things like that don't really kind of coexist with each other. So I think they're kind of trying to get into that where they can coexist. And The Joker was a fantastic film if you have not seen it. The Joker was a movie I didn't see it in theaters. When it came out, I bought it because I knew it was going to be that good.
Okay, sorry, I'm back.
So I kind of had to take over without you there. Sorry, but you can edit it out or whatever you need to do. Okay. But I was just talking about how I think the Avengers have done it the right way, and you're exactly right. I think we do see more of that DC coming to do that type of things and really to go into the villains of Batman. And I think DC, you have some Batmans that aren't even linked up with what they're trying to do now, and I think they're trying to set that standard where they're trying to have everything kind of linked together like Marvel is, and we will start seeing more of those. But I was telling them too that I didn't see Joker in theater, and I usually don't buy a film unless I've seen it and I know I like it. I bought Joker without even watching it. I'm like, this is going to be good. I bought it, I watched it, fantastic. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do.
Yeah. I think the thing is, and I told my wife this. I said, when DC knows what they're good at, they do it well. They do it good.
Yeah.
Like Dark Knight, it was good. It was dark. It was what it was supposed to be.
So good.
Look at this trailer for this next Batman movie. It's dark. It's what it's supposed to be. Joker, dark. It's what it's supposed to be.
Yes.
Then you have things like Aquaman. Perfect. It is over the top. He's supposed to be. This is like the son of Poseidon. You know what I mean? You have things like that. Superman. I like the way they've done with Superman because it seems realistic, even though it's not. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like, okay, he's like a human. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more grounded, I think. And it's kind of, I think there's a more humanistic side to Superman than in like previous stuff. And I think even though he has like these superpowers and stuff like that, and he can fight these villains that are like aliens, and he's an alien himself, I just think that in general, I like what they did with Superman in the movies that he's been in recently. And this next the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, that was the movie that was supposed to actually be made before they did.
And I'm torn because I really like Superman. He's one of my favorites, but I don't like what they've done. I didn't like Batman versus Superman. Didn't like it. So I want to see them go in a different direction with him or something. I just don't. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of what they've done with him. I don't think the movies have been that great. Now I do hear with the new Superman coming up, we're going to see the blacked out Superman.
Yes.
And maybe because I know eventually, if they stick to the comics, I believe Superman, if I'm not mistaken, goes evil, right? I mean, he turns bad.
Yeah.
See, and I think too, where Marvel wins out a lot in the box office money wise is Marvel is more for the kids, right? They have that fanfare of all the kids, and you can take all my kids to go see it. I'm fine with DC being rated R. I want to see the dark movies. They're supposed to be dark. Batman, the Joker. So I'm fine with that.
And I think
that's the way it needs to go.
Yeah, and I think that's what DC. I think that's what they did right with these movies, because they realized really quickly that they don't have to be a cookie cutter movie. I think Joker proved that, and it was the best selling movie that year, period. And they realized that, you know what, we don't have to make sure that it's okay for all audiences all the time. If it makes sense to go R, it makes sense to go R.
Yes, and I'm perfectly fine with that. That's no problem.
It's just I think we can be in a world where they both exist. I think Marvel's got its own thing, and DC has its own thing, and it's fine. And I think as a kid, I just was more into Batman, and I was just like, this is amazing, and I just want to know more about everything. And I think as long as they stick with continuity with directors. Don't start a film and then have 30 directors, and then you get a movie like Justice League, and then you get a movie like Suicide Squad, and it's just kind of like you need to just stick with one and allow that to work, and to just go with it, and one vision the whole way. And so
I think that's a big issue.
Yeah, if they do that, like take a look at the trailer for the Batman movie. The director has not changed one iota, not one time, and it looks awesome. It looks awesome.
It does look pretty good. Now, having HBO Max, all of Warner Brothers movies and stuff have jumped straight to HBO Max instead of going to the theaters because of COVID and all this interesting stuff. And that was a big thing for the film industry. Now, I love it because I have HBO Max. So the other day we're sitting there and we wanted to go see – I'm a big Denzel Washington fan. He's my favorite actor of all time. I don't think anybody ever beats him. All right. So for my birthday – we wanted to go see his new movie called The Small Thing, All the Small Things, with Jared Leto, and it looked really good. And lo and behold, we turn on HBO Max the other day, and it's on there. I was like, dude, we're watching this movie. I was very disappointed. Very disappointed in this movie. But I thought Denzel played a great role, and it had a good story, a good backstory. The ending was but it was bad. The ending was bad. It's built you up this whole way, and then it just kind of ended, and you're just like, that's it. That's the movie. So we were disappointed in that. We also watched a show called it's Tom Hanks' new movie that he filmed in Australia called News of the World. Have you heard of that, Jeff?
It sounds really familiar.
It's set back in the Western time, and he basically he goes town to town and reads the news to the town. It sounds kind of weird, but it's an interesting movie, and he finds this girl that was taken by Indians, and she's a white girl, I believe. She was taken by Indians and raised by the Indians. And then they were killed, and he actually ends up running into this girl as the person who was supposed to be transferring her and ended up getting killed. Long story short, he ends up taking care of her, taking her to her family, and at the end of the day, he ends up taking her in as his own. But it was actually pretty good. It was better than I thought it would be. So two different movies we watched there, and they're both on HBO Max, so you can check those out there. So
my wife and I, we watched this series on Netflix over the weekend, and it was about this thing called the Cecil Hotel, and it's like a 6-part series. It's really interesting. This girl, it was a viral video that went out years ago, and she basically was in an elevator, and she kind of was doing these odd movements, and then she ended up disappearing in the hotel. And the hotel has a really dark history. It's actually right there on Skid Row in Los Angeles. And Skid Row is like this 50-something block section of LA that's just a lot of homeless people and just bad people that are in a bad spot. And they're not all bad people, but there's just trouble there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they block off the street and they just act like these people don't exist. And that's where that hotel was. And so it's a very twisty and turny conspiracy theory sometimes, and has a really just a crazy end. And it's a real story. It's like a really, really heart-wrenching story and an eye-opening story. So if anybody wants to look at it, it's called, I can't remember what it's called, but it's about a hotel called the Cecil Hotel. So, but yeah, it's a really good, it's like a 6-part series, and we watched the whole thing in a couple of days. So, but yeah, it's good.
Nice. Getting that binge watching in there.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys, it is time to jump into the spotlight of the week. And this episode is called Houston, We Have a Problem. All right, guys, we talked about this a little, over the time. Deshaun Watson now wanting out of Houston, James Harden leaving. And Houston has an issue that I don't think we might have seen ever before, Jeff. So most people are fans where they were born. They're fans of the teams where they grew up with. And in Houston, if you're a fan, you live in Houston, grew up in Houston or whatever, and you're a fan of the Houston teams, your sports landscape has changed drastic in a very short time. So first we start with the Houston Astros, Jeff. They've been surrounded by scandal, cheating. They cheated their way to a World Series title in the 2017 and 18 season. The dark cloud has hung over this organization, Jeff, and MLB for the last couple of years. The way they handled it, it's been a big cluster F. I hate the Houston Astros because of that. The Houston Astros have lost, though, Jeff. They've lost their front office man in Nolan Ryan. They've lost their ace pitcher and Garrett Cole to the New York Yankees. Carlos Beltran ended up retiring. And this offseason, they lost another piece of that cheating championship team in George Springer, who left for the Blue Jays. George Springer was a guy that they brought up and built into their own. He played there for 6 years, I believe, and he was a big role into helping the Astros win their tainted championship. So Houston had their own issues, and other fan bases making fun of them and really pissed off at them. Other players really pissed off at them. They lose George Springer. They lose ace pitcher Garrett Cole. Last year, though, the New York Yankees. This team will be a little different this year, and we'll see going forward. They're still a talented team. Don't get me wrong. But I think I'm with everyone when we say that
Verlander got injured.
The Houston Astros can suck it. Yeah, Verlander did get injured. He is injury prone. Another guy that he's older too, so see how long he has left. He's still a fantastic pitcher, but is he going to start pitching day one, Jeff, for them? Do you know?
I don't know. I just know that it's the fact that he, I don't know. There's got to be a wall at some point with Verlander. As great as he is, I mean, he's not going to be perfect all the time. And he's injured now, and I don't know. There's got to be a point where Verlander's just not effective anymore, and he's not going to be an ace. What are they going to do? They have Greinke. Right. They have Greinke, and Greinke is not, he can't even, he has anxiety attacks. He can't even, handle pressure very well. So no, I mean, it's going to be an issue. But I think that in terms of Astros, they're going to have problems for sure.
They're on the decline. I think the pitching staff is. Verlander's out. Baseball spring training, I believe, started yesterday, Jeff, if I'm not mistaken. We got a couple of spring training games coming up this month, so baseball will be back. So the Astros have their issues, Jeff. They have their issues. I think right now, though, they're probably the best team out of the three in Houston, out of the Rockets and the Texans. Let's jump on over, though, Jeff, to the Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets just lost. I mean, they lost Russell Westbrook. They traded him away. And their big star, James Harden. The Houston Rockets have been a team that they've always made the playoffs. They've always seemed to be a threat. They could never get over the hump. The Rockets have brought in players from James Harden. Westbrook. They brought in Westbrook to help him out. They brought in Chris Paul to help him out and try and win a championship. And they brought in Russell Westbrook shortly after that. 1 year later, he's traded away. Harden was traded to the Brooklyn Nets after this offseason. We heard about his anger and his frustration there in Houston, how he wants out. And he just got traded not too long ago to join up a super team with the Nets. That's a big miss. James Harden will definitely be missed. The Houston Rockets will miss his points. He seemed to put them up very easily. He's one of the league's best scorers, most talented scorers in the league. And time will tell how Houston gets over him leaving. They got a new coach this season. But right now they're 11-16, and they sit in the 13th spot in the West. Nobody without James Harden has predicted them to go and be a championship team without James Harden. Yeah. And with James Harden, I don't know how much they were going to be able to, fight and contend with the team that they have. But he's been very disgruntled. He wanted out of Houston, and James Harden will be missed, definitely.
Oh, yeah. The Chris Paul thing was an experiment. The Westbrook thing was an experiment. And the Harden thing was an experiment. So I think that it's pretty much done for the Rockets. Who was there when Harden left just recently? Like who was the big name there?
They got if you wouldn't ask me, they got
I know they had somebody. And he got injured, I think.
He came from it's gonna kill me. He came from playing with Bradley Beal. What's his face? John Wall. Wall. They drafted with Westbrook to bring in John Wall. DeMarcus Cousins is there, and Westbrook. So
Westbrook's still there.
Not Westbrook. I meant Harden. Now Westbrook is playing up with Bradley Beal and just a team that's not doing anything either.
So yeah, I mean, ultimately, it all started with Chris Paul and the fallout there, and then it's just like snowballed since then. Personally,
here's my issue with James Harden, and I'm not a big James Harden fan. He's a great scorer. I just don't think his type of basketball wins championships. He doesn't play a lot of defense. His ball it's more ISO ball. It's not team friendly basketball, and I think that's the real issue. And then the Houston Rockets have done everything in their power to give James Harden teams to win, and I think they've done that good job. I think they would have won if Chris Paul didn't get hurt Game 6 against the Warriors and missed Game 7. I think they win that game, but the Chris Paul thing didn't work out. They bring in Westbrook 1 year later. He's traded away. They have given James Harden teams. I just think his style of basketball doesn't work well with others. And so he basically found his way out of Houston like he wanted. I just have an issue with a guy that is asking out when this team has done a lot for you and you haven't got over that hump. Now they've been contenders and they've fought hard. This team was a decent team before the Chris Paul thing fell through, and they were looking at, I think the Westbrook thing was someone that Harden wanted, and it didn't work out. But I have a problem with James Harden forcing his way out. I don't usually have a problem with players forcing their way out if there's a reason behind it. James Harden, in my opinion, didn't have a fuss because his team did everything they could to give him players, like I said, in my opinion. And he joined up, and now it's a super team. The Brooklyn Nets are a super team. You got Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden. there is not another super team in the NBA, and I think that's what's really hurt NBA the last couple years. You know, the Warriors super team it was hard to watch basketball. You knew who was going to win it.
It was boring. It was predictable.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be predictable.
No, you don't. You don't want the same teams winning it. It was ridiculous. And then these last 2 years, you've had not really a super team. You know, it's been duos. It's Paul George and Leonard, and it's Luka and Porzingis, and it's LeBron and AD, obviously, who won it last year. They're not really super teams. They're duos. Right. Now you have a super team again. It's everybody versus the Nets. And so I don't like to see that. But it has happened. And the Houston Rocket fans have got to be very sad that James Harden has forced his way out. And I'd be angry, in all honesty, that Harden left. I'm not a big James Harden fan. If I was, though, I feel like my team, the Houston Rockets, if I was a fan, did all they could.
Yeah. I mean, there's only so much they can do.
Exactly. Yeah. And they brought in guys, they listened to you, they brought in guys that you wanted and that you thought would work. Now, I mean, Jeff,
I will say that they did try, and I think that's the thing. I mean, if there's anything for the fans to hang on, it's like, I'm telling you, it's not like your team didn't try to bring people in to help out. So,
right. All right, Jeff, here's to the next team, Jeff. All right, the Houston Texans, they got to be good, right? They have a franchise quarterback who wins games. Mm-hmm. They have one of the best wide receivers in the game in DeAndre Hopkins. They got a quarterback nightmare in J.J. Watt, who gets the quarterback at will.
Yeah.
Well, no, yeah. Jeff, all that fell apart, and it fell apart fast, Jeff. DeAndre Hopkins was traded away last year as Bill O'Brien sent Hopkins away for almost nothing.
Yeah.
Almost nothing. Then Bill O'Brien sent away a lot of Houston's first-round picks because Bill O'Brien got to play head coach and general manager because the owner of Houston is dumb.
Right.
All right? So they don't have a lot of first-round picks to rebuild. J.J. Watt just asked for his release. This is the soul of your team, the leader of your team on defense asked for his release, and it was granted. He is now a free agent. He was disgruntled during the season and questioned the team's efforts. J.J. Watt's rumored. J.J. Watt's rumors. A lot of teams are very interested. The Green Bay Packers right now are, I believe, the favorite or second favorite team to get him. I hope we do go get him. Go bring him home. He's played for Wisconsin. He played college football there. He grew up in Wisconsin. Go bring him home. There's also been interest from other teams. The Cleveland Browns have been rumored to be serious contenders to pick him up. He could go play.
It's a good team.
Yeah, they are a good team.
Good coach.
There's been rumors to go that he could go play with his two brothers who also play with the Steelers. So he could go match up there and play. He wants to go to a team to win. I think that's kind of obvious as Houston Texans haven't won jack diddly squat since he's been there. So not only that, Jeff, J.J. Watt asked for his release and gets it. They did one thing right as a franchise, and they gave him his release. Now Deshaun Watson is wanting out of Houston, and we've known this for a couple of weeks now as well. Watson's teammates have been very vocal in telling Watson to leave, get out of here, don't get stuck. Deshaun has been very angry as he was told he would have more say in who the team hires, brings in, but the team has made those decisions without any of Watson's input and consideration. Now, whether you think a QB should be involved in making those decisions or not, that's just a different topic in general. Watson has felt very disrespected, and he's felt that his team and owners have not listened to him. And I agree, Jeff. I'm fine with Deshaun Watson asking out of Houston. They have completely screwed up.
Yeah.
draft picks. They have completely screwed up by letting Bill O'Brien be the coach and GM, making those decisions, trading away a lot of their first-round picks. Jeff, this is a very interesting because a lot of times if your quarterback's good, your team's good, right? A lot of times if your quarterback's bad, your team is bad. Well, the Texans went 4-12 this season, but Deshaun Watson, statistically speaking, had one of his best seasons he's ever had. He was rated by Pro Football Focus to be the 4th best quarterback in the NFL. He threw for 4,823 yards. That's a career high. He threw 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He averaged 301 yards per game. He averaged 8.3 yards per attempt, which is fantastic. Watson was the 4th-ranked quarterback. I don't know how do they lose, Jeff? You get a quarterback that does all that for you, and you're 4-12. The Texans say they're not trading him, right? So it seems to be a stalemate situation. But at the end of the day, Watson has the power and the control to get his wish. I believe he won't be there next year. He's rumored to have a couple teams he would want to go. That's the Jets, the Dolphins. The Broncos have been brought up in this situation. And, Jeff, it would be fantastic to see him go to a franchise like the Broncos or the Colts. I know you've got to be excited. If that were to happen, you'd be jumping for joy. This guy's a fantastic franchise quarterback. Is he an elite quarterback? I don't think he's elite. I think he's the second tier. He's a franchise quarterback who can win games. You put a team around him, and he can get you to the Super Bowl, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about him, whether he's coming, possibly coming to Denver, whether he's, the Broncos definitely, there's been sources that already come out as of a couple days ago or even today and said the Broncos, if they're going to trade for Deshaun Watson, the Broncos are interested in trading for Deshaun Watson. It's going to be interesting. It's all about Houston. Is Houston willing to play ball?
Here's if you look at this in a realistic situation, Jeff. I'm a new GM. They hired a new GM, and a big issue I think too with Deshaun Watson is they wanted him for head coach wise. He wanted him to interview Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator from the Kansas City Chiefs. They didn't even interview him. They hired some old guy. I don't even know the guy's name. And then the GM, Jeff, they hire another Patriots organization guy. That's where Bill O'Brien came from. It's something that Watson has been very disgruntled, and social media he's posted. He's not afraid to post those things. If I'm a new GM coming in, I've got not a lot of first-round picks to rebuild this team with, and my star quarterback, who I would love to keep, wants out. Jeff, you trade him. You trade him for three first-round picks.
Yeah,
and you rebuild your organization, and you use those first-round picks to move up and get you a quarterback. I don't even know if you'd have to move up. Where they sit in the draft, they were 4-12, so they got to have a top 10 pick. That's what I'm thinking. To sit here and say we're not trading Deshaun Watson and not even take phone calls is just dumb. It's just dumb. And to think you're going to get Deshaun Watson and just show up to camp and play for you this season because you refuse to trade him, I think it's not going to happen. You're wishing for something that's not going to happen. Deshaun Watson has power here, and he will sit out. If he wants out of Houston that badly, he'll sit out. And there's been a big change this offseason about players sitting out. Back in the day, they used to be fined every day they missed, and then when they joined the team, most teams could waive those fines. The NFL has made it to where teams can't waive those fines anymore, Jeff. So if Deshaun Watson does sit out, he will be paying money out of his paycheck.
Yeah.
But he's getting paid millions. I mean, this guy's loaded. he will be traded. There's no way the Houston Texans say, okay, we're going to call your bluff and you're going to sit out a year. I don't know why Deshaun signed a contract last year. That's kind of the issue. I'm like, if you didn't like it there, you didn't like Bill O'Brien, you didn't like the way the organization was, then why did you re-up your contract?
Yeah. I think it's very possible that he was thinking that there was supposed to be some kind of a agreement that he could pick and choose the coach, possibly have some say in offensive draft picks if they were going to think if they could bring in some weapons in, obviously even trades. He would probably have more of a say-so as to the direction of the team. And then maybe that didn't happen.
Right.
You know?
Well, and a lot of people probably don't think a quarterback deserves those saves. And I think that's a fine line. You know, I think it depends on who it is. True. If it's Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers has paid his due. He's put his team on his back. He's an elite quarterback. He has say. Mm-hmm. Deshaun Watson, franchise quarterback. I think he. I think. Well, first of all, if you think or they do deserve or don't deserve, if the franchise and the owner is telling you, Deshaun Watson, you will have say in this organization, and then you go and make these decisions without him, then that's disrespectful. It's a slap in the face. And I have no problem with Deshaun Watson wanting out of this organization. Even his own teammates have stepped up and said, don't get stuck here. You do not owe us anything. Get out of here. And
I mean, do you think it all started with DeAndre Hopkins?
I think that was the biggest thing that sent Deshaun Watson over the edge. That how could you get rid of this wide receiver? He was and still is one of the best wide receivers in the league. A wide receiver like that to a quarterback is, I mean, everything. That'd be like Green Bay trading away Devontae Adams. I'd be like, what? I would lose my mind, Jeff, if that happened. And a lot of Houston Texan fans did lose their minds when that happened. And it wasn't even, it was that they traded him, but they didn't get anything back for him.
Yeah.
It's like, what the?
They got Jack.
I saw that trade. I said, are you kidding me? They got a washed up running back. Whew. I don't know. Bill O'Brien made some dumb decisions. And he set this team up for failure the next couple of years. And I think Deshaun Watson sees that, and Deshaun Watson wants out. And I have no problem with him wanting out. Eventually, they will have to trade him, in my opinion. Yeah. Unless the organization is just so stubbornly stupid that they say, nope, you're going to either play or you're going to sit out. So
that would be
and then they'll be paying. Yeah. They'll be paying a guy to sit out, and they'll be paying him millions of dollars to ride the bench.
And he could possibly fake injuries, like, oh, I'm not feeling well, and
you come back and, oh man, my hammy's a little tight today, guys. I'm not playing. So that's a way to get around that kind of having to pay those fines. And
there's a lot of problems in Houston. I mean, sports wise, if you're in Houston and you're a fan of these teams, it's just absolutely not a good situation for any of these people.
Ooh. And it's Houston officially has a problem. They might need to put the city on suicide watch, Jeff. They have star players leaving every sport you want to watch. You turn on TV, you're like, well, at least I got this team. No, I don't. They got rid of James Harden. At least I got this team. Nope, Deshaun Watson, our franchise quarterback, it's gone. And I don't know if we've seen a situation like this before. Where star players I don't know. In one city just decide to get up and get out.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It is. It's a very depressing situation there. In Houston, and I laugh at the Houston Astro fans. Up in Texas, we call Houston the armpit because they're just the sweaty, muggy. It's very hot down there. We make fun of them. They have big brother syndrome to us, and so it's just a little hometown kind of rival type thing. So, and then I call the Astros cheating and everything. So it's easy to hate the city of Houston. So in my opinion, but all that being said, that's the spotlight of the week, and it's Houston has an issue. They have a problem. I don't know if it's going to turn around anytime soon. And then the best team in that city, in my opinion, is going to be the Astros.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not saying much. They lost a lot of people. They lost a lot of pitching. They may still have the bullpen intact, obviously. They have Altuve, and they have a bunch of hitters that are still pretty good. So pitching-wise, they are a shadow of themselves. A shadow of themselves.
Very much so.
Especially Verlander, if he's injured, if it's a serious injury, and if he's out for a extended period of time, and if he is not the same when he comes back.
Right. Yeah, I mean, who knows? And Verlander, man, this guy's always talking, Jeff. He's always running his mouth on something, right?
Yeah.
And the whole cheating thing comes out. And he has nothing to say. Verlander's quiet. He has nothing to say. It's very interesting how that happens.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know, Jeff. Very interesting. That's
Houston fans, buckle up. It's going to be tough sports-wise for a while.
It's going to be a bumpy ride. And
oh, yeah. There's some turbulence. There's some turbulence past the atmosphere. So
yeah, it's
oh man,
not a very good ride to be a Houston fan, but to all those fans that stick through it, kudos to you. And I have an interesting topic that I've always wanted to ask, Jeff, and I'm a fan of my teams for my reasons, and maybe we'll get into that in the next episode or something. But a good question we need to ask ourselves and answer ourselves as sports fans: when is it okay? Is it ever okay, Jeff, to switch a team, Jeff? Say if you're and I'm not even saying a bandwagon, but say if you're a team of the, I don't know, Chicago Bears, Washington football team, Charlotte Hornets in basketball, a team that's been poorly run for ages, and you've had enough. Is it ever okay to have that thought about, maybe I'm going to start rooting for somebody else? That's a question that we need to ask ourselves and talk about, maybe, because I don't know. I have, my teams have been pretty successful, except the Rangers. But they've even made it to 2 World Series championships. We didn't win it, but we made it. But man, Jeff, I don't know. That's a tough question that us sports fans might need to answer for those franchises that aren't ever going to win.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Yeah, it is something to think about. I've never had to experience anything like that, so I've never switched my teams. I've rooted for other teams, like in the playoffs or whatever, but I've never even thought for 1 second if I would switch teams.
I always thought, especially with the Washington football team fans. They've been fans that are 40, 50 years old, and that organization's been run so bad. It's like, man, do you want to continue this for the next 30 years, maybe? Because
I think a lot of it is just loyalty, and there are fans that are loyal. But I mean, it is okay. I think if a team's obviously not going in the right direction, they continuously not go in the right direction, and they're continuously making mistakes. I think there's a pass there to switch a team and go a different direction. And I mean, there's got to be some kind of pass for that.
I think there's a pass, but I think also you can't just jump on the team who just won the championship.
No, I don't think so.
That's bandwagon.
Yeah.
Right?
We saw that. No, you and I saw that in middle school all the time.
Yeah. And maybe next episode, we'll maybe sidelines or some side notes. We'll break down why we like the teams we like.
Yeah.
We could do that. Also, next episode, we are going to review the documentary Athlete A. Me and Jeff have both watched it. I'll probably watch it one more time to remember all the facts. I have 4 pages of notes, Jeff. I took on this bad boy. Yeah, and we'll break down that in the documentary, and then we'll choose the next documentary then the first week of next month, and we'll just review these documentaries. They don't all have to be sports, but just whatever we kind of fancy ourselves and kind of review. But look forward to that this week. We're going to try and live stream eventually. We tried it today. This didn't work out. We got some things. We got to figure that out. It should have worked. It didn't. So we'll figure that out, and we'll be able to live stream sooner than later. So hopefully, Jeff, the weather gets warmer here, and I can start going back to work. And when we do go back to work, it's going to be a long days. I'm going to be working 13-hour days. Jeez. It's going to be insane. I'm looking forward to it.
That's crazy.
But
yeah, I mean, everybody needs to just stay safe out there and, get through it.
Stay safe, keep warm. Yeah, we're closer to warmer weather, above freezing. This is literally the coldest I've seen it here in Texas week. We're in the negative 13, negative 18 degrees, it feels like. So,
yeah.
But, we let the kids go out and play in it for one day. We were out there for 20, 30 minutes. But after that, we were like, no, we're not going back outside. So frostbite sets in pretty quickly. And then we have to be able to wash clothes. So, so it's just been a pain in the ass. It's been a big pain in the ass for us Texans, but we're getting through it. Hopefully those out there will be able to stay warm. And I appreciate you, Jeff, jumping on this week for me.
Yeah, man, no problem. There were some technical difficulties. I did somehow lose connection. So I don't know. I think I'm also uploading a YouTube video at the same time. So yeah, maybe it was just a browser Chrome thing going on. So, but yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there and just see myself freeze for a second.
Freeze. I know. I'm like, Jeff, are you? And then I was like, oh, okay. And then it was weird. We've never had technical difficulties while videoing. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep going.
It is a browser thing. It did tell me it was a Chrome thing. So yeah. So
all right, buddy. We'll jump on next week with another episode. That'll be number 40. I believe this is 39. We're going to continue to do these every week. Come and jump on, join us for the ride. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitch. We're on YouTube channel now. So we have 2 episodes out on the YouTube as we started using Riverside. So come check us out there. And then I think that's it. Watson's playbook at gmail.com. If you ever want to reach out to me and Jeff, feel free to do so.
Yep. All right. Stay safe, everybody.
All right, guys. Take care.